everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I put together this pumpkin wall hanging. It's super easy, so let's get to crafting. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the supplies that we will need for our pumpkin wall hanging. So here I have a very simple little sign that I got at the Dollar Tree. You can get your sign obviously from anywhere. Maybe some frame art that you find, you can also use that as well. This just has a simple little string that we can hang it with, so that is very convenient. Okay, so this is the other item that I have. This is completely optional. This is pretty much just like a little tabletop or shelf decor, something that just gets placed flat on something, and it's already decorated. If it wasn't, I could use a little scrap of wood or some foam board if I wanted to create something like this, or even some cardboard, and then just cover it either with some fall looking fabric or some burlap. This is completely optional. This will kind of create like a little ledge on our sign. Alright, so I want a trim to put around my wall hanging, so I have this nautical rope. I got this also from the Dollar Tree. You can get any trim from wherever you like, or maybe you have some already existing trim at home. I've also got some scrap piece of ribbon here. This is completely optional. A lot of these decorations are going to be to your liking. Okay, so here I have two pumpkins. One that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I've had quite a while now, and this one I got from Hobby Lobby. It's just a little pumpkin pick. You can choose whatever you want. You will find small little pumpkins like this one at the dollar store, so you can look for that. What you want to look for is something that is either a soft plastic or a styrofoam that you can cut through. And here I have some scrap pieces of some floral, some little pomegranate branches. These are from the Dollar Tree. They're just leftover bits from a bush that I used for another project. So just look for whatever little bits you might have left over. You don't need this many flowers. I was just showing you these. I might only use one, maybe two. I don't know, but we'll find out. And here I have some greenery, or in this case, orange and brown leaves. These are just some little bit of filler for my little sign. Again, a lot of this is optional, and this is a fall look, and they're leftover pieces or just scraps from a bigger bush. And I got this particular design of leaves from Hobby Lobby. Alright, so here I have some glitter. I've decided that I want to embellish the wall hanging sign a little bit more, so I've got that, and I've chosen this orange. Alright, so for my tools I'm going to be using scissors, I'm going to use wire cutters, and then I'm going to be using this little blade cutter as well. So for my adhesives, I'm going to use two different types. I'm using just some plain white glue and of course my hot glue. Alright, so now that I've got all my supplies ready, let's get to crafting. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to embellish the lettering on my sign. If you'll notice that it says pumpkin spice and everything nice. The pumpkin spice kind of gets lost a little bit because the gold is almost the same as the background on here. So I want to make that stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and use this orange glitter and hope that that will help. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line the lettering that already exists there with some white glue. So I'm just going to follow along, do a couple of letters at a time, sprinkle some glitter, shake it off. So I've got some paper here where I can shake the glitter off, and then I can transfer any residue back into my little container. I'm going to skip over this one because I smeared the glue just a little bit. Excuse the background noise. Those are just my little kittens. Okay, so I want to show you what I've done so far, and I'm going to finish the rest of it off camera. And I need to make sure that I take off these little bits there. Okay, so what I did is I just made a simple following of the lettering. And as you can see, it's not as wide as the lettering behind it, and I'm fine with that because I do want that gold to show through behind it. It sort of gives it like a shadow effect, if you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit at a time, but like I said, I'm going to go ahead and clean this one up nicely, start over again, and then finish the rest of it, and I will be back when all my pumpkin spice words are glittered up with this orange glitter. Okay, so I've added the glitter to the lettering, and I'm really happy with it. You can fix it up however you want if you decide to do something like that. Okay, so then I've got this little string on here so that I can hang it with, but this tends to pop out very easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it around and just add some glue back here to keep them from sliding out. Just like that, and just glue it down. And just making sure. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to add this nautical rope around the side and the top, and then down the other side. And I'm just going to use my glue gun. So just a little bit of glue to get it started. And this little edge, in order for it not to fray so much, I'm just going to add some glue in there. And then just kind of stick it right there. All right. And then I'll just continue adding glue a little bit at a time until I work my way all the way around. When I get to the corner here, I'm just going to hold it for a little bit and make sure that is dry on there before I continue, because if I start moving this around, that may move my little corner. So I'll just make sure, hold that first, and then I'll continue, like I said, all the way around, and I'll be back once all that is done. Okay, so now I want to use these little pumpkins to decorate onto my plaque here, but you know, they're really wide. I don't want to put them like that. I kind of want to put them standing like so, but I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half. I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm just going to take the little pick off of it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use this little craft knife, and this is made of foam, so I'm just going to try and cut it as straight as I can. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I've cut that, and then I've got some little bits of foam, and it's not quite, you know, it's not quite flat, so all I have to do is just maybe just shave some of the foam off. I'm going to use both of these halves, so I just want to make sure that they are flat. Anything I should trim, I'll just go ahead and trim that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now, you'll notice that I cut them in half, so that means only one of them has this little stem on it, the other one doesn't. I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to do something in just a moment. Okay, so I want to go ahead and cut this one in half as well. This might be a little bit harder because it is a little bit bigger. Actually, it's a little bit softer. So I'm trying to cut it at about half. These two I'm going to use. So I'm going to use the whole little pumpkin. This one I'm only going to use half of it, so I'll save the other half for another project. Okay, I'll continue cutting, and I shall be back. I might have to remove this so I can cut it. Yeah. And there we go. So now I'm going to do the same thing where I did with these. where I just went with my little cutter and just shaved off any bits to make it nice and smooth. And I'm only going to use one of these halves and the little stem that was on it. Okay, so I have my two halves like I said, and I've smoothed them out. And I like this smaller one. See that? It's a little less width. And the reason that I like it is because I'm going to be placing it on my plaque, and I don't want it to stick out as much. This one sticks out a little bit more, so I'm going to save that for something else. And I am going to use this little stem. Now when I cut them, this little stem was mostly on this half. So there's hardly any room here where the little hole was. So I'm just going to actually just puncture a whole new hole. I'm going to use my glue gun to kind of melt in a hole. Put some glue in there, and then put this little stem in there. And it's got a little bit of a curve to the stem, so I'm going to make sure it goes out so that it doesn't go this way, and then it's not flat on my little sign here. Okay, so what I want to create, as you can see here, we have some pumpkins on the picture here, and they're really pretty, but I thought I'd add some dimension by adding, you know, some extra pumpkins. And of course I have them because I didn't want this really thick pumpkin sticking out of it like that. And not only that, but then I'd need like a little piece of wood that was maybe, you know, wide enough to become a little shelf or ledge for this. And I'm using this little bit here, this little sign. It's just like a little cardboard particle wood, you know, little sign. They come apart very easily, so I wouldn't use them for anything heavy. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to add glue, because like I said, they do come apart very easily. Okay, so this is going to become a little ledge right under here. And the size is really nice. It's just a little bit bigger, but I don't mind it. And I like the colors on it. Now, like I said, if you were going to use a piece of wood or create something like this on your own with some cardboard or some foam board, then you want to decorate it. So maybe you need a little scrap of fabric or some craft paint to do so, or maybe just use some scrapbook paper to wrap around it and decorate it. Okay, so I'm going to use this, and because it's such a small little ledge, that's why I chose to use the one that had the left width to it. So that should rest on there nicely, and it won't look like it's popping out too far out. See? Okay. So what I want to do is I want to glue this to the bottom here, and I need to trim the little rope a little bit more because it's protruding out a little bit too much, and it doesn't let me rest this flat on here. So let me go ahead and trim on my little rope, and then we're going to glue it to this part. Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue right along the edge here, or you could put it on the edge of the bottom of your little sign. But just put some glue. I'm not going all the way to the edge. Okay, so then I'm going to take that and my little sign, bring them together. Let's see, let's stand it up like this. And then you can kind of maneuver it and make sure it's all straight and kind of centered. So now we're just going to hold it like that and make sure the glue dries. And I'll be back. Okay, so I've turned this over and I've actually propped the top of the little sign here with some, you know, little item to kind of keep it level. And I was thinking, this is a light item that I'm adding on here, so I don't expect that to fall off. I feel like the hot glue will be enough to hold it onto the sign, but if it was a little bit heavier, you might want to do something about that. So I'm going to use some popsicle sticks, and I didn't mention this at all because I didn't know I was going to be doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and add some popsicle sticks. So I'm going to put some glue here and the tip here, lots of it there. The reason I put lots of it was so that, you know, it would kind of sit straight. And then just push this little stick right on the edge here. And I'll do one in the middle and then one on the other end. Okay, so there we go. We're going to let that dry. Okay, so this is dry, so we can go ahead and turn it over. And there we go. We've got our cute little sign. We've got our little string that's been glued in the back to make sure it doesn't pop out of the sign. And then we've got our nice little trim and a nice little ledge here. So now we want to continue by adding our decorative items like our little pumpkin. So I'm going to hot glue this one right there, right in the middle. Put lots of glue. There we go, just like that. Super, super easy. And then I'll take another little pumpkin, put that one on one side. That's what it's looking like. Let me hold it up so you can see it a little bit better. Like that. And then we'll add this one here to this other side. And there we go. Now remember I said I'm going to put something on here, so I'm not going to worry about this little thing here. Okay, so in the beginning I showed you that I had these little stems and they have these little pomegranates on them. Okay, so I'm going to take one of them off. I actually have one right here. I think I'm going to put it on top of this little pumpkin here, but I'm going to trim some of the back of it off because I also wanted to have a flat edge where I can glue it down. So let's see, this part has a little bit of a scratch, so I'm going to trim that little bit off. And these are all made of little foam, so it's easy to do that. Of course, it's that type of foam that, you know, all the little bits go flying everywhere and your room gets, you know, they get on everything and then they're staticky, so they make a mess. Okay, so there we go. We have our little piece here. I've cut off this part. Now we can go ahead and glue that on top of that little pumpkin. Right there, just like that. Okay, so now we want to get some flowers and the little leaves and decorate it some more. But as you can see, this looks pretty nice just as it is. You could stop right there if you like, you know, a minimal look. But I'm going to go ahead and add some little flowers. Alright, so I've decided that I just want to use one sunflower and I just want to decorate a little bit on the side here and then just a little bit on this other side, kind of a short little floral or just some leaves here, a little decoration here, and then just a little bit tall here. I don't want to put too much because the sign itself is so pretty and I don't want to cover it up. So I'm just going to use one of these. I'm going to use one of these little fern leaves, which I am going to trim. I like this little bit here with a little sprig here of some little kind of seed looking things. So I'm going to use that, maybe a couple of these little grasses. Okay, and the rest of this I can save. And then from here I'm going to use this shorter part here, or just these flowers up here on the top. I may use these on the other side. So I'm just going to cut a short little stem for now. Okay, so now that I've separated all those bits, I'm going to take my sunflower, I'm going to bend the stem forward so that can go right here, and I feel like it's a little tall, so I'm going to shorten it by quite a bit. Okay, just decide where you want it and cut the stem to that length. As a matter of fact, I'm going to cut quite a bit off of it. I don't need it to go all the way down. Let me push these leaves off because I don't really like them. Okay, let's do that. Just the stem. Yeah, I like this a little bit better. So now I'm going to put glue right here on the stem and I'm going to glue it down. There we go. Okay, so I also like this little sprig and I also want to tuck it in there behind the sunflower. So I'm just going to kind of poke it in there. Let's see, right in there. And then I'm just going to reach under here and put glue right where that stem comes in. There we go. And as you can see, you can move this out of the way and you can see that. And even if I had it just like that, you could still see the stems in there. So that's where these little extra leaves are going to come in. So we're just going to cut them off like so. And then we can take these and hot glue them so that they're covering all those stems, and I don't want to cover the pumpkin too much, okay? So let's go ahead and glue those on there to cover up those stems. Just some glue in the back here. Glue it right on top of the stems and on the rope that's on the side here. Just glue it down right there. I like the smaller one, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that one. Bring that right there. Oops, sorry. And there you can see how that's covering up those stems. And we made like a little floral arrangement, and of course you can stop right there. Okay, so now I'm going to take these leaves and I'm actually going to cut them off as well, because they're kind of bunched up and they don't, you know, they're all like facing inward, and I don't like that. So actually I'm even going to take the little pine cone off of here. So what I'm going to do on the other side is I'm going to take one of the bigger leaves. So I'll take this one, put some glue on it, and I'm going to put it right on the ledge. I'm tucking the little tip of the stem kind of under the little pumpkin, as you can see right there. I'll take another little leaf, and just about right there. And then I'll take the pine cone, put it right in there, and that'll cover all that up. Put some glue on it. There we go. Now I can take these little grassy bits. I'm going to cut them a little bit shorter as well. And I'll just put some glue on there and then just tuck them in back behind the flower. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to take a couple of these little pomegranates, just trim them off. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue to one right here next to this, and then another, and right there. And that's what that's looking like. Okay, so in the beginning I showed you that I also had some ribbon, and you know what, guys, I feel like I don't need that. I think the sign looks really pretty just like that, but just for the heck of it, let me go ahead and I'm just going to cut a little length of it, a little tail, if you will, just like that. And I'm just going to cut a little bit of a pointy bit on it. The other side's already got like a little dovetail cut on it. Put a little glue and then just tuck it in underneath this leaf here. Just a little touch, and there we go. All right, everyone, I have completed my pumpkin wall hanging, and here it is, hanging on the wall. I think it looks super cute. And as you can see, you can take any little sign, just like the one I got from the Dollar Tree, and embellish it as much or as little as you want, and create something different rather than just hanging up the sign just by itself. And as you can see, I used half of a pumpkin, so the other pumpkin, I'll use it on something else. So it didn't cost very much to make. I used scraps of some other crafts that I created, or take some from an old project that you might have, and you can just take it apart and use those parts for that. And there we go. We have a nice little sign that we can hang up anywhere or give to someone as a gift, or maybe perhaps you are selling them. All right, everyone, I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up. And please leave a nice comment down below and let me know, are you going to be creating something like this or something, you know, a little different? Let us know your ideas and share with everyone. I want to thank everyone who has been subscribing. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't done so, please hit that red subscription button and then the little bell. That will notify you of when I upload my videos, which is twice a week. Make sure you share on your social medias. Spread lots of love. Respect each other. Be kind to each other. And as always, enjoy.